I think because for me, a proper blind trait would just be to have the ring around you of awareness. I don't think that would be a fun way of playing to me, is just having no, like, that would be no situational awareness, the mod. Do you have friends? Okay. That sketched me out a little bit, because if that person had a whole bunch of friends down there, it could have been gone. No, I had it on. No, like we did, it was Apocalypse. I don't remember what the zombie settings were. We turned them up past a normal Apocalypse. I don't remember it was just insane or if it's just 4-pop. Like I don't remember what the actual settings were. It's been a very long time. Like, and I think that was one of the last runs we did. No. It was the really CDDA was the last run we did before I split my audio channels so that I could actually go and upload everything to YouTube. Because that was the whole thing, is I couldn't put the stuff on YouTube because it had music, and while the music player I'm using, like, I can turn it to YouTube safe music, where the DMCA, because there's different licensing for YouTube and for Twitch. Twitch's is much less strict, so I get way more music if I use Twitch's licensing versus making it also apply for YouTube. So I did switch it out so my YouTube videos have none of the music loaded. And I don't like edit anything down, I just post the whole VOD, and I'm actually pretty bad at doing it. How do you know the helicopter was there if there's no in-game heli? Or no in-game tell? There is a tell. You stand there and you just watch all the zombies start closing in from everywhere and you go, what's happening? But you don't get any advance notice. Because you also can't listen to the radio, because you're deaf. So you can't, like, listen to the emergency channel to know when what weather is coming or anything like that. You're just kind of at the mercy of whatever happens. You can't watch the television for skills, it doesn't work. Which makes sense. We talked about it in chat a couple times where it was it wasn't until like 91, 92 or 93 that they started requiring that TVs were capable of closed captioning and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Then they turned around and it was just, you know, like, people were like, why can't I gain skills watching, you know, the carpentry show in-game? It's like, well, you're deaf and there's no subtitles. Like, you can see that the guy takes a saw, you know, takes a board and puts a saw, but you don't hear them going, and you put this with the grain and do this, this, and this. You can tell which way the grain's going by the pattern in the wood. You don't hear any of it. You just see a person, like, kind of massaging a board for a second, talking that you don't know what they're saying, and then they put the board into a saw, and you're just like, okay. Okay, yep, our boots are fine. I mean, without the context, that's what it'd look like. It's just a person running their fingers all over a board and you're going, what's this person doing? And they're explaining, it's like, this is the way the grain goes. You can tell by the circular pattern. And it just looks like this person's, you know, running their hands all over the board and you're going, what is this dude doing? Like, this dude's really weird about his wood. Yes, I phrased that with, you know, deliberate intention. That was not an accident. I knew exactly what I was walking into. That said, let's not take it too far. The best place for a joke is you deliver, you get just the right amount of delivery, and then you stop. You gotta know when not to push. I mean, I haven't agreed to do a def run yet. Like, I was talking about doing a run where, you know, the zombies are really smart and other stuff. Basically, I'm looking at the One Painful Year challenge, but with the only exception of not doing, like, what is it, like Perfect Night or whatever it is, the super duper dark nights. And the only reason I'm not doing it is, like, well, I'm totally fine with doing that as a challenge thing. Like, I've done def runs where we've gotten to, like, nights where I can't see. And people are well aware that I do have a filter to make things brighter on OBS than it is for me playing the game. I have had a lot of people hop into the channel because, you know, one of the other streamers, they would watch car, all four wheels on the ground, friend. But, you know, they would start, like, the proper One Painful Year run with the, like, pitch black nights. And they're like, I can't watch it. It's just too dark. It makes it difficult to see anything. Like, it's not fun to watch. So, from the streaming perspective, you know, pitch black nights, whatever it's called, is a non-go for me. Because I've had many people within my channel saying, please don't do that. That they'd probably end up watching something else because it's too hard to see and it's not fun. But otherwise, it would take, like, all the other stuff from One Painful Year, where it's, you know, you have to move around regularly. The loot is set to extremely rare. What else is there? The zombies' AI is turned way up, so they, like, have much better memory. They can open and close windows and doors, that kind of stuff. That said, I actually expect the run to be pretty easy to what I'm used to. Because the zombie population of that, I believe, is just insane. And they actually, I want to say they have the zombies set to be weaker than normal. I gotta look it up. Someone had the entire challenge information, but it was one of those things, it's like, okay, if we die... Because the run I'm doing right now is an extremely long challenge. Like, there's a good chance we'll hit, like, 10 in-game years or something before this is done. Like, I don't have any type of exact figure because there's too many variables involved. But, it is going to be a very long run. So I don't want to do attempts of it back to back, because it means it'll be the only thing I do in Project Zomboid. You know, variety is the spice of life and all that. So you don't want to sit there and just go, I will do the same challenge again and again and again and again and again. Yep, that's pretty much the goal, is to clear all of the major cities. I'm also going to clear probably a bunch of littler cities and other random points of interest and whatnot. But the primary goal is to clear Riverside, Rosewood, Ekron, Muldrow, March Ridge, West Point, the Mall, as well as Louisville. Yep, I am in Rosewood right now. So we have cleared Riverside. We have cleared the areas around Riverside, the lesser areas. We have cleared Ekron. We've got a pretty good start on Rosewood. Got a long ways to go. But Rosewood, so far as geographical area, is actually not a particularly large city. March Ridge is even smaller, which would be the next city after this one. Muldrow's not particularly large. West Point's pretty big. West Point, like Riverside, I think, as far as map area, not counting Louisville. Louisville's the biggest and the highest pop. But excluding Louisville, I want to say Riverside's the largest city geographically. As, like, the most streets, the most length to it, and all that. I think March Ridge would be the next... Or, sorry. West Point would be the next largest. Muldrow would probably be the next largest. Then Rosewood. Then March Ridge. Then Ekron. And then the mall, it's like, it's one location. It's not really big per se, it's just dense with zombies. That said, from what I've heard, and I believe I heard this from Royal with Cheese, was that the OG mall, not the Louisville mall, its population is static. It doesn't matter whether you turn up and down the zombie pop. The population for the mall remains consistent. I might be incorrect in what I believe he said, so, you know, maybe confirm that. but that it was just like that was just a thing, which it'd be an interesting gimmick that like you can't just change them all. There's a zombie to my left. You could tell by multiple trees rustling at the same time. There's a zombie crossing through there. Because if the wind blows, you'll have like a tree or two shake, but when you see like more than one shake near each other, it's like, okay, that's a zombie doing stuff. And that radio blasting, that's strategic for multiple reasons. One, I keep it going that way if at any point it's like air activity detected, I see the message and I know to immediately change my priorities. It's also set to its absolute max volume, so it's actually not quite as loud as a horn, but really not that far off. It carries a very long distance. I mean, if I lowered a window, it'd be even farther distance, but then I'll forget to put the window back up, climb in, a zombie will just chomp me through the window in bad times. But as you can see, I'm not yelling or anything, and it's just drawing all the zombies nearby to us. So that's kind of a strategic thing. There's a big horde back there. Okay, Integer Smirk. Integer Smirk saying, I'm up to 100% push-ups a day now at 22 degrees. Next week, I will be on to normal push-ups. You know, thanks for prompting me. Absolutely. Actually, I do not have sirens. The sirens are busted. And they are unrepairable. So, I'm actually pretty salty about the lack of sirens, if I'm being honest. I was not aware that they wear out and you can't fix them. Because I would absolutely be using the sirens here and there. Like, probably not yet at this point. Like, and there's mods to make them repairable, but this playthrough I've been going out of my way to not have mods that affect gameplay in a meaningful way. And going, okay, if they're unrepairable in the base game and I make them repairable, then that's 100%, you know, a significant change to gameplay. I appreciate all the spears you're giving me, but I'm actually not looking for a whole lot of spears. Maybe 3 screens would be my guess. I actually don't know. I know alarms carry way farther than you think. Like a house alarm can, I would guess 4 or 5 screens, 4.5 screens, something like that. Yeah, keep in mind, resolution does actually affect how much you fit on a screen and how much you set you can expand how much you can zoom in and out and all that kind of stuff. So screen's a bit of a tricky metric. Because like normally you measure in tiles, which are like 300 tiles for this or whatever. But they actually have some pretty significant range. The helicopter's the big one for drawing zombies from far away. So like that's the reasons why I like to use the helicopter strategically. Now that we've got ourselves established. Energy Merc said, sorry if you answered this last time, Rawl. If you need to start this run again in the future, will you go full vanilla? Probably. Alarm in FD lure every zombie from the gas station in my runs? Gotcha. Yeah, Siren's got some serious range. Like, I believe the largest range thing in the game is, yeah, no, like, I've set up, like, I've tested our house alarm here, and it's loud and obnoxious, but, you know, it's... You wouldn't hear it outside your neighborhood or anything. It'd be a couple of your neighbors going, holy crap, please, you know, kill your alarm. But past that, no one would know. Because it's inside your house and it's muffled and all that. Like, usually it's just like a speaker in your attic or in the garage kind of thing that's just blasting where people outside your home would clearly hear it. But its point isn't to, like, alert half the city. The point is just, you know, alert a couple of your neighbors. That way someone calls the cops. Or you have your house alarm wired up so it calls the cops automatically. Yeah, 100 meters is pretty significant. Like when you're talking like, you know, how far do you think 100 meters is on the screen? Like, probably clear across the entire parking lot, maybe across the street, probably. Maybe farther. So a couple screens. Ogosa says, I died, didn't run out the door, and a zombie got me. That's the reason you always run out the door. Yeah, zoomed out all the way, like I could see, you know, this is probably something like 100 meters from like the front of this to about like over here in the parking lot. That's a guesstimate though. We have no idea. I don't know if these are like standard size roads or slightly wider roads. They feel like they're slightly wider roads. So I'll go to talk about his next run's going to have Sledgehammer in it, or 10 ARs, or 10 cars. Yep. Yeah, I remember you were talking about, like, you're just going for some absolutely ridiculously modded stuff just to, you know, mix it up kind of thing. And I actually really appreciate when the zombies just like roll out and they like just surround the car because they're like, haha, I know exactly where all of you are. I don't have to like drive around to find you. You're just here. And you notice, generally speaking, I'm not going to be like climbing up into these upper rooms, like looking for every zombie like buried in the back closet of every bedroom. That's just how you die. Generally speaking, the way we'll go is we just keep making more and more noise. Eventually those zombies that are up there will find their way out to us. It's just much safer to do it that way. Speaking of there's one right there who just found their way out to us. It's just much safer to play that way. So yeah. Algo says, yeah, the thing that screwed me real bad was that the weird advanced helicopter events, I turned up the frequency to try it out, and I got a helicopter while I was looting a helicopter drop. Gotcha. You just wanted to see the UFO. Is the UFO still in there? I thought they took the UFO out of EHE, extended helicopter events. It might be, because I know it was a thing, because it would drop aliens that would sprint at you. was like, maybe I don't want to see the UFO. Is that? Yep, NG Saint, that is a mod. It's called Extended Helicopter Events. So instead of just the news helicopter that rolls through all the time, what are you wearing? Oh, it's a shower hat. Okay. So it's a mod that adds a bunch of helicopter, like a bunch of different events. So instead of just the news helicopter, who, you know, that's the default one that just strolls around. What is happening here? But yeah, so instead of just like the regular news chapter that just flies around, generally track stuff, you have like Good Samaritan ones that'll drop like stuff for you. You have like a police one that'll start shooting at the zombies as it goes by. You have a military one that at first it'll just kind of give you warnings, then it'll shoot at the zombies, and then eventually they'll shoot at you too. Like they'll be like, you need to be indoors and all that, and if you don't, then they start just blasting indiscriminately anything out there. But they also have like UFOs, you have jets that go by, which effectively are just kind of the same as the beta events, where they just generally draw these zombies in a direction. Not super accurate. Like, they'll fire a couple rounds before, like, everyone has like a chance of hitting you. But they'll have a few rounds they'll fire, and like, probably 1 in 3, 1 in 4, I guess, would actually hit the target. But that said, like, they pour on the rounds, so they, like, if you are outside, you will get killed when they start shooting at you. It is when they say you get indoors, you get indoors. But as you play through, like, the frequency of the events gets lower and lower, you know, normally. If the helicopters show up in bad weather, sometimes they'll crash and you can get stuff out of them. Alright, we pushed her. So there's still a zombie nearby us. There you are. Okay. NG Saint says, Mario helicopter mod where it's one of those turtles that clouds flying over shells at you or something. Yeah. I don't know, like that's cool, like people want that. I actually find some of those really goofy mods, like, they weren't really my thing. Like, they're silly and they're funny to watch our people, like, bring out once in a while, but I'm like, I don't want to take the time to install this mod and deal with all this nonsense for just something that's going to be like, haha, funny, okay, uninstall. Still, the amount of gore on the street is just nothing like Riverside was. The main day we did our push on Riverside where we had a couple of katanas that just started going absolutely ballistic. Like, you couldn't, where this you see like most of the road, you could only see like little patches of road between the bodies. It was absolutely absurd. Yep, we just passed 48,000 zombies killed. What's the most kills I've had? I don't honestly know. This might be it. Just because I did have a character before I started streaming that did live over a year. Honestly, this character is getting really close to catching up to the point where it very clearly will be the most longest survived character. Because I did have a character survived a bit over a year in just base apocalypse settings as one of the first really, really successful runs I ever had. But, nothing special, like no multiple helicopters, like just apocalypse. And, that character lived for a year, and I meat grindered the mall for like a good 6 months in that character. There is a very good chance that this character's long exceeded that, though. Unfortunately, like, I don't have that save file. It's multiple computers ago, multiple years ago. Like, that was a long time ago. Like, that's probably build 40. Yeah. Oh yeah, for survival, we were set for survival probably 2 months in, maybe? Because, I mean, like, for survival purposes, like, we have been just surviving on the base that we built. And otherwise just meat grinding the zombies. We haven't been stopping to go, up, I need food, or up, I need water. We just go back to base, pick up our supplies, and then get back to it. Okay. And back onto the road that we can find our generators. So I don't hear the zombie banging on the door. I'm wondering if we'll get lucky and I'll be back at the window and we can kill it and grab this generator. Nothing to see here, zombies. Nothing to see here at all. You aren't missing anything. So at some point that zombie climbed out the window I left open. So with that out of the way, let's turn this bad boy around and go back in that main street. Because my plan is just to work on this main street, kill every zombie we see there. And then slowly work on the rest of the town. Mostly because this main street just has really big sidewalks, which means it shouldn't be nearly as bad to kill the zombies off of the main road. So I can keep the path mostly clear enough to drive over that many corpses. Oh, I didn't expect you to survive that hit. Yep, we're getting pretty close to where the police department, the courthouse, and the fire station are. And that's like really as far south as this place goes. Rosewood is not a big town. Nope. Green-faced Moodle is queasy. We're not bitten or anything. That's just because we've been around a lot of corpses, so our character's not feeling too good about it. If we spend way too much time around those corpses, it'll go up to nausea. Then eventually it'll be full-on sick. And then finally it'll get to fever. If we reach fever, we start dying very rapidly. We did hit that once during this run. We got down to 10% health before I was able to, through shoveling food into my mouth for faster health regen and just ripping off all of our clothes to try and cool off, we almost died. And I was at Riverside. That's just how bad the corpse pile was getting there. So we're just wandering around killing all the zombies we see. Once we clear an area that's fairly large, we'll actually start blasting our horn to draw the zombies to us. You just want to be careful about getting too ambitious with the horn right away, or you just might not have the weapons, time, and stamina to deal with what comes out. Oh, our group following us still. Yeah, a bunch of these zombies are actually coming from inside the buildings. They're hearing us, like through windows and all that. So that's probably the reason I'm making noise, is because there's upstairs apartments in all these buildings, and there is no way in hell I am messing with those stairs with these zombie pups. Alright, now the little gray face at the top, that is Drowsy. Which sucks because he just pulled a bunch of stuff. But that's fine. Drowsy just means you have reduced damage, reduced stamina, and that's actually really bad. Because we also just hit Exerted while doing all this, which means even more reduced damage. So we're looking at probably less than half of our normal damage right now between those two penalties. It's also impacting our movement speed. But there's one nice thing about short blades, is we can just keep fighting and fighting and fighting. It doesn't matter. As long as we don't mess up our fight and walk into a zombie's arms or something. We'll kill them all. It just takes time. Normally it's 2 or 3 hits per zombie, but with all these negative things, it's probably going to be like 6, 7 hits per zombie. Which is why so few zombies are like bullying us all the way out of town. That's not a problem. We'll just turn around, go back to our vehicle, recover it. I believe we're just still queasy. Yeah, we're still just queasy. It takes quite a bit to actually get yourself up to nausea. And then, like, not quite as much to go from nausea to sick. And then when you're sick, like, that's when you really need to be concerned, because the line between sick and feverish is not much. It's kind of like it takes a long time to go from being... just taking it queasy? Yup. It's kind of like where it takes, like, a long time to go from, being, like, having no fatigue problems and all that, to being exerted. Like, that's a huge... Here, actually, why am I saying it? Because I can just go right here, show bar, show display bars. So, like, if you look here, because there's not a sickness bar you can look at, but it's kind of like here with stuff like fatigue, where you go, okay, like, not fatigued at all to drowsy, it's, like, all the way up there. You're, like, a full 2/3 the way up the bar, just about. And then you hit drowsy. And then after drowsy, you kind of go, like, another 1/6 of the bar from drowsy to queasy. Or, I'm sorry, from queasy to, like, sick. And then it's, like, a 7th or an 8th of the bar. So it just gets a little bit faster, a little bit faster. Yep. But I've been trying to not use that mod too much because... Again, people are like, I wonder how much you rely on it. It's like, I don't think I rely on it too much, but we're going to find out. And I will say, the drowsy thing, I was watching the bar a lot, I'm noticing before. Because that's the one that sneaks up to me on me that I'm actually worried about. The exerted, honestly, not that much. Because, like, exerted, I can stop fighting and stuff like that to recover. Versus, once you get sleepy... You know, yeah, you can start choking down vitamins, but it's far more significant to try and recover that. And we're driving as slow as we can to try and not roll over by driving in all the zombie piles. As we make progress in the city, because the bodies decay after 9 days, we will get to the point that I don't have to worry about because there just won't be enough bodies on the road to be a problem. But you also notice, like, as I'm getting farther and farther back, the concentration of zombies is getting lower and lower, and that's because we've killed them all, time is passing, all that good stuff. I've got a hunting knife directly next to our car. Okay, so let's see. Why not set your body rot to 2 or 3 days? I just don't change the setting. Mostly this is kept as close to apocalypse as possible, other than the stuff that's very specific for like the run or whatever. And then plus, when people join the stream, they go, "Oh God, how do you have so many bodies?" It's like, yeah, I am a menace. Alright, that sinks out of water. Question. Why don't you move the cooler in front of the stairs and use sheet ropes? I don't need to. I mean, I could. The problem is, like, if I climb... What? Bathtub. Can you be real and not pretend? Well, I won't worry about the water then. The problem with that is, like, a lot of these windows, I can't see the bottom. And so, like, I don't like using sheet ropes in areas where I cannot see the bottom of where it's at. There's a few windows that I probably could. I would also have to start pulling down a bunch of the stuff to make the sheet ropes. Or, probably, actually, that's not a big deal, because I can just loot zombie bodies. Never mind. I don't know. I usually don't honestly use the sheet ropes because I've had too many times where I've climbed down the ladder and just kind of like gritted my teeth as I saw the zombie coming going, well, we're committed now. I just hope it works out.